Greetings Dragon Wagons and welcome to Codex Compliant, the series where we don't make quite as many mistakes as we used to. That's growth. Yes, we're doing another video where we address any mistakes we've made, tell you some of the things we missed, and general stuff like that. If we don't mention a video in here, it's because there's no corrections or expansions to be made, or at least no one mentioned anything that we saw. All the things they mentioned were just personal insults. Okay, let's get to it.
In the 10 Weird and Wonderful Things from Rogue Trader 3 video, we mentioned all the robots from the expanded robot rules have names beginning with C for some reason. Several commenters let us know that this is likely a reference to the fact that British cruiser tanks tend to all start with the letter C. You know, Challenger, Comet, Crusader, etc. Also, some noticed that one robot was called Colin, which sadly isn't real. We just edited it as a little joke for any eagle-eyed viewers who could spot it. It originally said Conqueror for those interested. Oh, and related, someone who played with the programming rules at the time mentioned that they'd usually just blue tack their programs to a piece of card to avoid the issue of getting your programs messed with, which is a very sensible solution to the problem.
A couple of small things from the Laserburn video. In it we say that since it's British, it's spelled with an S rather than a Z, and some commenters got mildly annoyed since they're American and they spell it with an S. And although we never actually said it was an American spelling, it does seem like the Z spelling is a lot less common outside of the UK than it seemed from our personal experience. So, you know, fair enough, our experiences are not universal and all that. Also, I feel like in the final edit we may have oversold how much of Laserburn ended up in 40k slightly. They were connected due to sharing of concepts and staff, but there's other old games that probably had a more direct influence on 40k that we'll cover in their own video at a later date.
In the Codex Cadachans video, the only real thing to mention is that the toe popper, a bolt round buried in the ground to blow the toes off anyone who walks over it, is apparently based on a real improvised trap used in conflicts like the Vietnam War. We bow to our audience's superior knowledge of toe destruction methods. You sick bastards. We think that the Warhammer Army's Undead video was pretty solid, although there is a couple of points. Oculus states that Hell's nicht means Hell Night, and as many German speakers let us know, it does not. In our defense, that part was edited by Wib, who does not speak a single word of German, and the writer and narrator of that section has been punished accordingly.
Lore. Oh, yeah, I deserve that.
Oh, and also, people got really mad that we made fun of how bad at sex Ben Shapiro is in that video, which is pretty funny.
There were a few things that we missed in the Challenge magazine video. The first is that Tim Bradstreet, who drew a fair bit of the art we saw, is a pretty successful illustrator, having worked on Vampire the Masquerade, The Punisher, Star Wars and Hellblazer to name a few of his projects. Probably something we should have mentioned. Another is a rather fun connection that was pointed out to us. Thrug Bullneck from the Ot Spug Grub article is actually a GW character, one who was in the very first 40k scenario, Battle at the Farm, from the first edition rulebook. Good catch to those that noticed that one, because we certainly didn't. The last is that this image of a Space Marine from the last issue of Challenge we covered has the logo for the band Queensryche on his shoulder, which is neat since sneaking band references into 40k is a proud tradition all the way back to its roots. Although that's less of a thing we missed and more of a not a band we've ever listened to and so wouldn't have recognised the logo anyway kind of thing.
In the Eye of Terror video, several commenters let us know that although the book itself doesn't hint at this, the mutant conversions were technically, and this is a very big technically, an actual kit. Because it appeared that GW sold all these mismatched sprues together so you could more easily make these kinds of mutants. Which is pretty fun. The Tyranids Codex video is fine, as far as we know, but we do admit there is a lot missing from it. It had a pretty rushed production, mostly due to Wib feeling incredibly burnt out that month, so there's a lot in there that we didn't talk about. Sorry. Maybe that might be a book to revisit in some capacity in the future.
Now we've got some stuff from the Imperial Armor episode. No errors that we're aware of, but you folks did give us some additional info. For one, the statistics on the tanks are, according to the tank buffs in our audience, surprisingly realistic, even if they don't match particularly well with the actual models sometimes. Also, the term Dragon Wagon is presumably a reference to the M25 tank transporter that was nicknamed the Dragon Wagon. Why it was written in Comic Sans shall still remain a mystery. Also, the I think it's art bit from that video became a short-lived meme, which gave us endless joy. Another point was that the name swap for the bomber and fighter bomber happened sooner than Imperial Armor 8, as it was present in the 2006 update book. This is the reason we'll often avoid being 100% definite about a date of something we're not fully aware of. Writing a YouTube video is like 45% weasel words, so you can avoid being technically wrong.
And dealing in technicalities, a detail we technically missed in the Space Wolves Codex video is that there are even more Marines on the cover beyond the one people always miss. Sort of. These little shapes in the corner here are in fact some more Marines in the distance, although it's only completely clear what they are if you see the uncropped version of the artwork. So, to all the people like us who didn't notice this guy, well, he had friends. Honestly, I'm paranoid that we're going to notice even more Marines after this video goes live.
A little something from our squat article video now. It turns out there has been a recent mention of the squat's fate in last year's Liber Xenologis. It states that the squats were rumoured to have been mostly wiped out by a Xenos race, which manages to both officially acknowledge the old "they were eaten by Tyranids" thing, and state it in vague enough terms that they could easily do something entirely different in the future and not actually contradict it. Although, personally, I feel it's easy to forgive that we missed this one since the book was short run and sold out very quickly. We only know it contained this bit because Remlays of 40k Theories told us, and we're pretty sure he's one of only about 12 people who actually own the book.
Oh, and before we go, there is actually something from a much earlier video, one we already covered in the last Addendums video. The old school Space Marine retrospective. Turns out there's another extra sneaky Marine type we and everyone but one person missed. The 6-pack boxes of Marines from around 2nd edition are not, as we assumed, just a pack of 6 of the metal Jess Goodwin models, but were in fact a multi-part plastic kit, seemingly based on the same Goodwin sculpts. They're similar to the Chaos Marine kit from the same period where the heads and torsos were one piece with separate legs. Thanks to friend of the channel, Jim, for physically actually showing us one.
Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, and thank you to the commenters who pointed out the stuff we've mentioned here and weren't a dick about it. We're only human at the end of the day, and we don't and can't know everything about everything, so it is genuinely appreciated. I guess we'll do another one of these in another 20 episodes, unless every video made past this is 100% perfect. Which could happen. Maybe.